I'm CEO and co-founder of Avio. And for those of you who don't know, and I'm going to be focusing on artificial intelligence this morning, Avio have been partnering with hotels to maximize direct bookings for over 15 years. And in October of last year, we launched the world's first AI booking engine for the hotel website. So I'm going to be focusing on AI and how AI can be used as a disruptor to compete with OTAs and to give hotels a competitive advantage via brand.com. We've been gaining some recognition in Europe for our innovative approach and sort of rethinking the booking engine space. And ultimately, we're putting our neck and our reputation on the line with a commitment to grow hotel direct bookings by at least 25% in 1 year. So this commitment we've made towards using artificial intelligence to help drive that is a very real one, and one that we've built an entire company and team around delivering. So in addition to the AI platform and the booking engine space, we've also been, I guess, building a real expertise over the course of 15 years on the entire customer journey, from digital marketing to the design of brand.com, and partnering with hotels to, to really maximize how their brand is distributed and delivered ultimately to the customer via the website. And a selection of our partners just spanning from independent hotels to groups right up to providing some services to Marriott in the area of Marriott Digital Services. So I guess all of that is some qualifiers for why I'm up here speaking about artificial intelligence and the role that it plays. There are probably 100 different definitions of AI in the world. It is a very broad space. Most simply, as defined by Wikipedia, intelligence powered by machines. There are a number of sub-disciplines or research areas in artificial intelligence, and which I think leads to a lot of confusion and sometimes sort of cynicism around AI. Is this really AI, or that AI is better than this AI? The reality is AI is a field of computer science that breaks into one of a number of different research areas, and this list is not by any means conclusive either. But we're looking at things from robotics to machine learning to network intelligence, recommender engines, deep learning, cognition, etc. And just finally, by way of qualifier, in terms of where we are on this AI journey. So we're in a phase of AI called narrow intelligence at the moment, or artificial narrow intelligence. And basically what that means is we have AI tools and services and platforms all around us that are developed and delivered to do one or two quite straightforward things. So your Google Spam folder, for example, is learning based on every email that comes into it about how it can be better in improving its own performance at detecting spam. So this spam tool is not going to take over the world and obsolete all humans, but it is a very tidy, neat example of how AI can be deployed in a narrow way around the area of spam. So what we think over the next 30, 40 years in the AI roadmap is that we will move towards hundreds and thousands of instances of narrow intelligence to a more interconnected and more powerful general intelligence. So this is where narrow AIs are coming together and sort of leaning on AI connectivity from different platforms. But also, as computer technology progresses, AI can just do more. So we as humans have a generalized level of intelligence, right? We're good at things like creativity and design. We have imagination. We're not great at things like memory. Squirrels have better memory for where they've stored their nuts in wintertime than humans do. So our intelligence is very broad. And as AI progresses, we'll see computing power reach a point where it can somewhat mimic general intelligence at a level of humans or similar. But of course, AI won't stop there, and it'll blow past our level of general intelligence and move on to more of a super intelligence. And this is where researchers and specialists predict that, okay, we may have really scary scenarios at the end of all of this, and we need to plan for a world of artificial super intelligence. So as I said, AI is all around us. Hundreds and thousands of instances of AI, from Google Spam, as I said, to Alexa, using voice recognition and some predictive elements to be able to recommend things to you. Google Maps, route optimization, Uber obviously all in the AI in this space, and Netflix, ultimately using personalization to improve user experience, right? Your Netflix is different from my Netflix, your Facebook is different, your Amazon, your YouTube is different. So AI in the area of user experience, as we've seen all around us. So I'm going to focus on user experience really for the purposes of my presentation. And when we look at why AI is important, this, I think, is an interesting couple of quotes, right? So first from Gartner, saying businesses will compete on user experience, right? So 89% of businesses will compete in the future based primarily on user experience. And AI will be the driver, will be the key factor in delivering successful user experience, okay? hundreds of quotes around where brands are and should be on an AI journey, but obviously Google have moved from a mobile-first message now to an AI-first message, so all in with regard to AI. This, I think, is an interesting chart, and it's a little old. It goes back to runs up to Q1 2017. But this is the distribution of AI by category. So, and I know you won't be able to see this at the back, but again, very happy for Paul and myself to share the slides. Healthcare is right on top. So we have companies like IBM with Watson really investing in AI for the benefits of improving healthcare. So doctors are working alongside incredibly powerful and connected artificial intelligence to help not only with things like diagnosis, but also in certain cases surgery. But we've got to come quite far down that list to get to the hospitality industry. So I guess the lighter colors show little or low investment in AI within the travel technology space. I think it's fair to assume that anybody investing in travel technology at the moment is really, it's in the Google side of things and some of the major brands. So a huge opportunity, I think, for leveraging artificial intelligence within the whole hotel sector. And when we look at why, I mean, again, from my Book Direct perspective, this is why at least Avio are using AI. It's because that OTA challenge, you know, the profitability that OTAs sort of in many cases take out of hotels, that challenge isn't going away, and in many cases it's getting worse. Right? So this was the forecasted end-of-year scenario in the US last year, and this is despite the major hotel brands really starting to invest in Book Direct strategies, stop clicking around, best Book Direct. You don't get your Hilton Honors points unless you book on Hilton. But in spite of this, the OTAs, and in many cases on the back of heavy investment in user experience, are widening that gap. So when we come to what we're doing and the challenge we set ourselves after 15 years of building booking engines for hotel websites, the challenge was, well, we can keep investing in better tools and A/B testing and the world of analytics and then optimize each booking engine for every hotel. But what if we take a step back and invest in artificial intelligence that can improve its own performance on a hotel website? And that was the challenge we set ourselves, and in 2018 we launched Allura, which is the first use of AI within the hotel booking engine space. But what we want to do, if we go back to the Netflix example, what we want to do on a hotel website is optimize and personalize every single website interaction that a hotel has with its customer. The state of hotels' brand.com strategy today is really to serve up a brochure website with a booking engine that sits passively behind a calendar or a book now button. And we're hoping that this is going to help us compete with the user experience that we get from booking.com or Expedia, which is highly personalized, highly engaging, and highly targeted. So really that traditional brand.com passive strategy doesn't work, and we feel that we need to use AI to really orchestrate personalized conversations there. So every customer is different, every website visitor is different, and this is an example from some early adopter clients that we have in the UK and Ireland of where the customers are coming from. So this is a time lapse of 24 hours showing every customer reaching that hotel website and where the customers are coming from and how much we know about each customer. Have they been here before? Did they just click on a spa page? So we're setting keywords and we're beginning to track the customer profile as they interact. Have they made a booking? Were they here 2 days ago and made a booking and now they're back? So the point is every customer is different, and all the while we continue to serve up our same website with the same booking engine to every customer like they're all the same, we're missing on the major opportunity. So our investment in AI at this point is across 3 different areas: machine learning, networked intelligence, and recommender engine. So I'll go from the end forward. So recommender engine is like, and I'm going to show you some examples, but that's like what Netflix and what Amazon would be doing. The more our platform knows about the customer, the more it's going to use that knowledge and identify other customers that are like that user to recommend rates, recommend products proactively that the customer might be interested in. Because this is all about customer experience, there is a huge opportunities for hotels to be part of a network of hotel bookers, whereby Allura is learning about how to optimize the North American visitor visiting London. It's not so much about your hotel anymore. It's about how do North Americans travel. What is the user experience at the North American market? For example, in London, should we display prices excluding VAT to the North American market? Because they're very familiar with seeing pricing excluding VAT. The domestic market visiting your hotel is probably much less interested in, messages around shuttle from the airport. They're probably driving to your hotel. So with network intelligence and machine learning at hotel level, we can really deliver some quite powerful, far more engaging levels of user experience on brand.com. So this is an example of a hotel homepage that is powered by the kind of personalization that recognizes a repeat visitor. So we're recognizing the repeat visitor. We know where they're coming from. We know they were here, for example, 2 days ago, and they clicked on a leisure page or a spa page. And we're actively able to put the kind of content like a spa rate or a leisure rate in front of that customer alongside directions. We don't expect a booking engine to take a first-time website visitor from North America looking at Dubai, for example, and talk about how great the shower is after a long-haul flight. But that's exactly the space that artificial intelligence allows us to move into. Of course, the customer that has already made a booking is treated to an entirely different user experience, one that's all about, we can't wait to see you at the end of May. We notice that you've visited the restaurant but not yet made a booking for the restaurant. Would you like to upgrade your room? And all of this is being delivered via the hotel homepage to try and get far closer to the kind of user experience that the OTAs are delivering and that customers today are, I think, insisting on. Right? If everybody's YouTube and Netflix and Facebook was the same, it would be very frustrating. But the reality is I'm treated to the same hotel website experience as everybody else, regardless of my relationship with the hotel. And the truth is we can go so much further than that now, as we're doing. And then finally, just to finish up my presentation, I thought I'd just mention chat. So we have 2 live booking bots integrated at the moment, and this is a very early stage of providing chatbot booking tools to hotel website customers. But one of those is available on Facebook Messenger. There will be, I think by 2020, 3.5 billion Messenger users. That is users that have more than one or more Messenger app on their phones, be it Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, for example, or Viber. So what we're doing is we're allowing hotels to provide booking tools via Facebook Messenger. And while it's really early days, I think messaging opens up, some interesting areas. For example, groups can interact with your hotel website on Facebook Messenger. Right? So they can all pile into the same active, automated booking conversation on Facebook Messenger and ask the kind of questions that would allow a group to make a booking in real time. So we're seeing chat as a very interesting channel, albeit very early. And I will leave my presentation at that for now and look forward to questions later. Thank you.
Okay, so this is just a quick glance at the Expedia Group, one of the largest travel companies in the world, growing faster than the industry average. And the underlying piece around Expedia is that Expedia Group is actually made up of a number of brands, both which sit within the OTA space, within the corporate space, but more importantly, at least for me, is the B2B space. So I'm here to talk to you about more around the Expedia Affiliate Network, which is our B2B division, and what is common across all these different entities is that they will work and sit on the same Expedia travel tech platform. So the Expedia Affiliate Network, what do we do? What is it? What's this business about? It's very much around unlocking the power of Expedia for our partners. And how do we do this? Mainly through the use of technology. And today I'm going to also cover what that impact looks like in the future. So who do we work with? Who can benefit from this? It's very much around other OTAs, members, loyalty memberships, airlines, corporate travel management companies. And with all these companies, what this gives us is a global view of what travel trends are happening across the globe. And very much around, similar to what's already been mentioned, these trends allow us to actually improve our search results and how we work with our partners to optimize how they deliver their content to their customers. So in terms of the technology that we've already mentioned, mobile is the today, is what we're seeing today. Voice is very much its early stages. Chatbots, we've already mentioned. Machine AI and driverless cars, I think these are all technologies that will influence how travel is impacted over the coming years. As you've seen already, voice is starting to come up as a big disruptor. So we're working very closely with Amazon in terms of how we can improve that user experience. And I think what we'll see is that as the user experience becomes better and better, that's when we'll see that voice really taking off as another channel through which to do your travel reservations. Virtual reality is, I personally believe, is the future, is where we will be seeing a lot of disruption coming through. Over 50% of millennials have already stated that they prefer, they want to start their journey, their travel journey, using VR. And at the moment, the technology is very young. It's prohibitively expensive, but I think as we see the cost going down, we will start seeing VR adoption being much more rapid. And actually, I think that's what will be disruptive across the industry for people, to making their reservations and also, their journey experience. Augmented reality, I would say, is now. And this is definitely a piece of technology that we've seen through, the massive adoption of Pokemon Go. And I think where there's opportunity is in things like in-destination experiences. Take me to, how do I get to my hotel? What is there near me that's of interest? And so I think, again, this is technology that can be utilized now to enhance the customer's journey in destination and actually to increase that, the experience that people do when they, throughout their journey. So for us, we're a very data-driven organization. And as I said earlier, because we have partnerships globally, we operate on a massive scale. It allows us to see these patterns. And we take that behavior from our B2C brands, such as Expedia and Hotels.com, and apply it to our affiliate business as well. So it's very much tailored to what individuals' needs are in terms of the way we display hotels, but also display the content. And this is what makes it an extremely sticky experience, but it allows us to convert very highly versus an industry average. So Expedia last year spent over $1.3 billion in our technology platform, and that's a 12% year increase from last year. And this year we'll continue to invest. We're very much driven as a travel technology organization, and as I mentioned in previous slides, technology is the key differentiator, and I think this level of customization does require significant investment. But these are these learnings are the learnings that we, as Ian, share with our affiliates to make sure that everybody can have a benefit from this intelligence. So we've updated our hotel API. And this is just, it's a new way by which our partners can get access to our content. So it's dynamic, over 400,000 hotels, growing at an amazing pace. It's using the latest technology and, working closely with our integration teams to ensure that it drives value immediately for both our hotel partners, but also to our affiliate partners. So TripAdvisor did a survey, and they found that users were engaged in excess of 150% above when they see over 20 images per property. With this stat in mind, we have a minimum of 20 images for every single hotel that we load on our system. And why are images so important is because that's how people can actually visualize their holidays at this moment in time. In the future with VR, I would say, that's how people will see their holidays. But for the moment, we're stuck in traditional images. Additionally, our content is very detailed. So this allows, especially for people, hotels to differentiate themselves within the system. It gives you the opportunity to, as a supplier, to differentiate yourself, whether you have a chateau, whether you have a hotel boat. And there, again, it's all about relevance and granularity of content and making sure that, the end customer gets as much information as possible at the beginning of their journey to make sure they book the right accommodation for them. Similarly, geography is really important, and a great example is the Greek islands. Traditional mapping is sort of circles, and as we all know, in Greece, that doesn't really work. So by having intelligent mapping and making sure that the polygons or the shaping of the mapping works correctly. It provides the relevant results, the relevant hotels to all our customers at the right time. That's it. Thank you.
Good morning. Accommodating the future, that's quite an interesting subject, especially from an operator point of view. I'm always amazed that basically we are asked as a baby boomer to talk about the future when actually we should ask the Gen Y or Gen Z actually to talk about it, but that's pretty cool. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Swissbell Hotel International, we are 31 years in business. We are listed as one of the top 100 hotel companies in the world. We have 145 hotels, but we are going to have actually 150 hotels before the end of the years. We are 14 brands, 22 destinations, 4 continents, regional office, and the Middle East is going to represent at this moment 17% plus minus of the entire portfolio. This is pretty much where we are: Egypt, Georgia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Tanzania, Saudi Arabia, United Emirates Arabs, and Oman. And it's not over because we are also tackling a little bit more countries also in Africa. Some of our hotels over there, so they are quite brand new design. Some of them are existing, most of them are under construction in the regions. And look at the booking journey from the customer point of view. The very fun part of that is that 40 years ago, when a customer wanted to make the booking, he was looking, searching, booking, and stay. Nothing has changed. The only difference now is basically we are doing everything online. And this is where basically the new technology, tactics, win the direct bookings are absolutely vital for hotel industry, and especially for the operator when you want to reduce your cost. Now, when I heard that Frank was telling that basically he could increase the direct booking by 25%, yes, obviously, I'm all ears that. Now, when you look at the distribution system, again, the industry best practice, where do we stand? We, for example, as Swissbell. Good website, it's vital. We saw about internal booking engine, no problem. That's what we are using, actually. We are using Sabre's as is in Exis. Channel managers, search engine optimizations, meta search. Now, look at that last line over there, which I thought was quite interesting. I don't know how it will be, Frank, in Expedia, but when you look at the meta search, you represent that 30% of the booking traffic actually was coming from the meta search in 2017. That's quite an impressive number. So definitely, if you are not using everything which is available for you, you are not maximizing the opportunity to get direct booking. Revenue management software, reputation management, CRM, email marketing, social media. Basically, if you are not tech-oriented, you are losing the opportunity to make business, and you will be out of business, and that's the bottom line. So how operators are actually actively investing in the business? Certainly not as much as obviously our colleagues over there. Expedia, 1.4 billion in research and development just in 2017, 12% year-on-year growth on technology. No hotel companies are doing that, none. And that's the fact. If you take the marketing budget of every single hotel company in the world and you combine them, they are not even representing 50% of the marketing budget of Booking.com or even Expedia. We cannot compete it. We just have to see how we can work with these guys in order to extract a little bit more business. But I think it's extremely important. Now, as an operator has an owner. What does the owner need to do? Okay, I'm facing owner on a regular basis. Tell the owner to invest in technology. That's a fun part. That's really interesting. And for whomever is in development over there, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say mission impossible, but very few owners understand the importance of technology, especially because they don't see a return on investment. It's not a building. They are just looking as an expenses, not definitely as a revenue maker opportunity. Now, how much of us having the technology, but we don't have the human resources and the training to know to use the technology at its best? We have revenue management system. We have revenue managers. In our company, last time we did a couple of surveys in some of our hotels, some of the revenue managers did not even able to use 30% of the system capability. Do we need always to invest in research and technology like our colleagues are doing over there? The answer is yes, but how much is it important if our staff doesn't know how to extract the maximum potential of that technology? Look at the last slide over there. We are talking about disruptions. We know that obviously OTAs is a kind of disruption. That's not the only one. But obviously they are growing 10 to 30% annual when actually our business is only growing to 3 to 5. Now, what we as hoteliers are doing to fight that? Obviously, the first one who has started actually to engage is actually Accor, which created his own platform by buying a number of companies, which are going to allow them to have a little bit of competition, should I say. Will they have the resources to fight people like Expedia and Booking.com or even TripAdvisor? That's another story. We were talking about VR earlier, and I think I totally agree with you. VR is the future. Is it too expensive now? I don't think that we are there yet. Are we going to be there in 20, 30 years? Certainly way before. And I hope that the artificial intelligence will not beat us on that one, but definitely we need to get there because without technology, we are dead meat. Okay, and that's, okay, you know about it, okay? OTA commissions, 15 to 30%, and that's a fact. Now, is it going to help the small player? The answer is yes. Now, what is happening with that is that when you are an operator and you're facing the owner and said, okay, let's charge 1.5, 2% of marketing, and said, why should we pay you over there? Because at the end of the day, the OTAs are doing the job for you. They represent 50% of your booking. Okay, if we, as a hotel management company, we don't evolve and we don't adapt to the new expectation from the investors, then we will be very soon out of business. 82% of the travel in the Middle East are using mobile device. How many percent was 5 years ago? 5, 10%? Mobile device is the key of the future. It is the key. Everything today is mobile. Now, when you look at basically the comparison, 54% of the same period in 2016, that's 25% increase. It's absolutely enormous. And it continue and grow and grow and grow. Now, when you look at the millennial, 50% of the millennial prefer to use their booking via an OTA. Okay, that's quite scary. For us, it is scary. What are we going to do in order to change that? That's very, very important. What do we know about the millennial? We know that the millennial are going to be the main traveler, business traveler, within the next few years. They are going to represent 75% of the workforce within the next 5 years. The mid-class today, which is representing plus minus 1.7 billion people, mostly coming from US and from Europe and Western countries, will grow to 3.7 billion by 2040. The fun part of that is that mid-class segment, which at some point of time will also become Millennial and Gen I, will actually move from Western country to Africa and Asia. What do we do in order to tackle this market? What do we do in order to tackle that mid-class people, which will be emerging from Africa and from Asia? 68% of the mid-class people in 2040 will come from these two regions. Europe, Western countries, US will not even represent 40%. So you have a big, enormous shift of geo-democratics. What the hotel should do to take advantage? Everybody have his own ideas. That's what we are doing. Get responsive, speedy, definitely get local. Invest in digital optimizations. Sorry, but again, people are the keys of the factors here. Artificial may take over maybe by 2060, as you said. But they will become super intelligent compared to general. Most probably we will be gone by then. So let the young people take care of that. Dynamic prices, value added, loyalty program, industry best practice, channel management, reputation online, cloud-based technology. That's what we can do now. Now, everything over there is absolutely fabulous. Unless you are missing one thing here, which I did not put it on purpose, it's what can we do about the data protections? If you have everything here and you are not able to protect the data of your customer, then you are in deep, deep, deep trouble. How are we going to do that? That's another story. Honestly speaking, I don't have the solutions. We are expecting, Matthew, the EU regulations, which should be coming next month. Okay. So, yeah, next month. So by next month, we expect the data protection of the EU regulations. Let's see exactly what is inside and how we can do that. But As an operator, the most valuable information are data. This guy understood that much better than us. They did. Look at what happened with Facebook. We know exactly how much value the data are today. Data protection is the keys of any future when it comes obviously to business and operators. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Online reputation manager, and look at the happy guest. Yeah. They must be baby boomers, these guys. Most probably. And today everything is app, everything is mobile, everything has to be fun. How will hotel distribution evolve in the future? That one took me a little bit of time, actually, to work on it, because it took me quite a lot of research, because it's not a simple one. So the way we look at it is we know that basically the OTAs are there, and they are going to be there, and they are going to be more powerful in the future. So the way I look at it over there and said, okay, well, we need to look at new ecosystem collaboration, quality and customer values. Require new strategy approach, and especially from the hoteliers. The old system of hoteliers in the future are dead if they are not evolving. And unfortunately, we see that happening. Every other week, we have a call from an independent owner coming to us, asking our help to take over their property, simply because they cannot match the technologies and the challenges of the competitions. Especially in the UAE, where the competition is getting so tough. You know, the good old days where you just opened the hotel and it was fed up by its own is over. Today, technologies, science is basically taking over the way we are doing business. Now, what is important is when you look at the last slide over there, and I thought it was quite amazing. If you look at Marriott, which is the largest hotel company in the world, Marriott is only capitalized at 46 billion, only, should I say. But still the largest operator in the world. Look, Facebook, 477, Google, 715, Apple, 886. Do you know the capitalizations of Expedia? Hmm? 30 billion? 30 billion for Expedia. Can you imagine? Look at these guys over there. They are all disruptors, they are all newcomers in the market, and Marriott is basically not even 1/10 of Facebook. So definitely, disruptors are coming, and it's not only in our industry. We saw that in many other ways. We were talking about Uber earlier, and that's a major disruptor. Yesterday tourists are on tomorrow's hotel needs. Yeah, that's a fun one. 25 million travelers, 1.2 billion, 340 new airports will open globally in the next 10 years, 1.7 billion travelers. Now, as I said earlier, we have only 1.7 billion travelers out of a potential of 3.9 billion within 2030. So the good part of that is that with that mid-class coming up over there, as an operator, instead of fighting to get the 1.7 billion, what can we do as an operator to actually go after the 2.5 billion remaining, which are still waiting for any operator to go and find them? Most probably we need to adjust the brand based on the destination, based on the cultures, and based on the countries, and especially the buying powers of each of them. We're in Dubai. You know very well that for every single customer who can stay on the Jumeirah beach, you have 100 customers who cannot simply afford it. Are we doing enough in order to accommodate these customers? We will have to do, because at the end of the day, if we want to reach the 25 million visitors in Dubai by 2020, accommodation for 3 stars and below will need to be provided. Are we going in that direction in Dubai? Well, still not yet, because the 30,000 room nights or 30,000 rooms key coming up by 2020, 65% are still in the 5 stars and 4 stars. So definitely we have a huge rooms, obviously, to attract the customers. The question will come later, so thank you.
Who'd like to ask the first question? Okay, shall I do that? If you'd like to ask a question, just pop your hand up and we'll run a microphone round to you. But Frank, maybe I'll start with you. You like Alex, showed voice devices. I've got a few Amazon Echoes at home. And actually, hands up who's got voice devices at home? Alexas or Google Homes? Oh, quite well, just a few of you. I'm surprised about that. But I do wonder if that is the future, and I think maybe you and Alex think that, given that hotel accommodation is such a visual a visual item to book. You know, we see pictures of rooms and swimming pools and foyers. As we move to voice, do you think we actually might be moving away from being able to distinguish hotels from each other if we're starting to book on voice? Frank, what do you think about that?
So I think voice is definitely a channel. Most hotels are in the category in terms of e-commerce of what we call high consideration items. So I don't just want to speak into my phone and say, book me a hotel that I don't know anything about or that I haven't been to or seen their website, for example. I think where voice is going to make a pretty big impact are initially on the OTA side. So I have Alexa and Google Home in my house, and I can speak to Alexa today and ask it for the price of flights from London to New York, and it'll connect with the Skyscanner skill. And of course, you know, all of the OTAs, and as Alex mentioned earlier, Expedia investing heavily in Alexa. Where I think this presents an opportunity for hotels is where voice devices will connect with screens. So at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas earlier this year, Samsung tried to change the term IoT, which sort of means Internet of Things, to Intelligence of Things. So they're really pushing this whole, things are not just connected, things are sharing intelligence. So I think what's very, very close is us being able to interact with Alexa, for example, saying, show me the Ritz Hotel website, and it will open the Ritz Hotel website on your smart TV. And you'll be able to interact with Alexa saying, okay, open the rooms page, show me the room, browse around the website. We'll be able to interact, and then, of course, we'll be able to make a booking. But I think it's the sort of the voice as a data input, because that's all it is. We're like moving around a mouse, right? So voice as a data input into those high consideration items, as hotels are, I think will be disruptive, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. And actually then, Alex, you talked about the... well, you actually said VR, virtual reality, is the future, which almost goes completely the other way. This is actually quite complex moving pictures. And I am reminded, and any hoteliers, sorry, do we have any hoteliers in the room here? Yeah, good, okay, fine. You'll know as hoteliers, it's so easy to take photos of your properties and put them online. If you're doing videos, that gets a bit more complex. And I guess, Alex, that virtual reality, actually the production of virtual reality gets more complex too. But do you think that'll be a necessary part of the future for promoting hotels and showing hotels at their best?
Yeah, I think it will. I think, like we mentioned earlier, I think currently the costs are very high. And I would say if we look at, even on the mobile, if we go back to the late 1990s, the mobile was just purely your phone, and has evolved significantly. And a big thing of that was the reduction in cost of smartphones, and that led to massive adoption. So I would say with virtual reality, similarly, I think firstly it's all about an immersive experience, and it'll be part of that selection journey in terms of deciding where to go and where to stay. And I think the more immersive and the more enjoyable the experience becomes, then actually the more likely you want to then do it for real. I mean, I had a look in, playing with some Oculus, and it was a Cirque du Soleil display, and it was really engaging, and you kind of wanted to see more. So I think, what we'll see is, different iterations of it. At the sort of near future will be just that, sort of dipping your toe in the water, so to speak. But probably in the very, 10, 15 years time, I can quite easily see it as for certain demographics, that is their holiday, to be in that immersive experience.
Okay, now let me just check what we mean by virtual reality, because I see there are two types. There's the Oculus Rift type, where you have put some goggles on, or maybe you're using a cheap piece of cardboard with your mobile phone. But actually, of course, you can hold up your iPhone or other device, and you can just scan it round a picture, and you can do 360-degree photography, which some people call virtual reality.
That'd be more what we'd call augmented reality.
You'd call that augmented reality.
So it's basically where you've got the exact backdrop, and then things are sort of superimposed upon it, similar to Pokemon Go.
Okay, fine. Anyone want to ask a question at all? Yes, can you have a microphone down the front here? And what would be great when the microphone arrives, just to put your question in context, if you can tell us who you are and the company you're from, and stand up, then everyone can see you.
Hi, sorry, I'm Matthew Fall from Swiss Bell Hotel. I was just curious
thank
with
you.
a company like Expedia, or as we're developing with these,
Hold this very close.
this virtual reality content. Obviously, content and media is getting more and more complex and complicated. When a hotel takes 20 photographs of their hotel, they distribute those same photographs to all the different OTAs, content providers. As it gets more complicated, what sort of format of VR should we be distributing our VR content to all the OTAs and stuff? There's a lack of sort of like standards, the way people are going to use these things and interfaces. Have you seen it going in any particular direction where VR might be usable on a multitude of channels?
Yes, because I was going to come on to the question, Alex, of how you distribute your content. And of course, distributing VR would be quite a challenge, I would have thought.
So we're talking about the future. So I think, we can't really foresee what that's going to look like at this moment in time. So I can't really answer that question because we're taking some degree of guesswork in terms of what where the trends are taking us in terms of the virtual reality journey. So I think it's far too early to, firstly, who's going to be responsible for that content? Like you said, very often hoteliers will create the images today and distribute to all the OTAs, like you mentioned. Some OTAs curate their own images as well. But with VR, will it be the property's responsibility to create those VR experiences, or will it be an OTA's? Or will it be an independent company who then, syndicate that content? Right now, I don't know what the answer is.
Okay, thank you. Laurent, you've been sitting there very quietly. I must ask you a question about something that you didn't mention. Because you talked about the different channels you prefer and the challenges of online. And you mentioned Uber. I didn't hear you mention Airbnb at all, which I don't really know what Airbnb's doing in the Middle East. I do know in other parts of the world that the hotel industry see Airbnb as quite a challenge. Is that so in this part of the world?
Well, no, yeah, definitely. Well, it was in the presentations. I think that basically Airbnb it's not only a disruptor basically for the operators, they're also a disruptor for the OTAs. So at some point of time, we know that more will be coming up over there. And again, I give you a very simple example. A few days ago, I was with Fritz van Passen, which is the ex-CEO of Starwood. And Fritz was visiting the headquarters of Airbnb in Los Angeles. And he said, well, Fritz, can you imagine that yesterday we had actually 3.2 million rooms occupied in one day. And Fritz immediately was looking at in his head and said, can you imagine, Laurent, if I was taking every single room of Starwood occupied at 100%, I will not even have had 300,000. So is Airbnb a disruptor? The answer is yes. Is it a primary competitor? The answer is yes. Are we going to fight them? The answer is no, because again, they have a buying power and they have a technical power that we will never have. Are we going to try to adapt to the situation like we are doing with our colleagues OTAs? The answer is definitely yes. Are they disruptor? They are disruptor, but disruptors are also good for the competition because the strong one will survive.
Now, are they disruptor or are they actually playing in another market? Because I see Airbnb as being particularly good for long-term stays and also for stay on price. And I do actually see that we're more of a luxury market here. Frank, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously focusing quite a lot on Airbnb as a disruptor to hotels and brand.com. It is worth noting that Airbnb have announced that they are now moving into the boutique hotel space and looking to offer boutique hotels as a category of accommodation via a partnership initially with SiteMinder, and I'm assuming that that will extend to every other channel manager. Now, the commercials that Airbnb would work with an independent sort of apartment host are very different from what would work and succeed in the hotel space. Airbnb today is offering kind of unbranded properties. Those properties are typically not available to book elsewhere, but in moving into the hotel space with branded product that is also available on OTAs and being heavily invested in on pay-per-click and meta search, the commercials will have to change. So I think it's an interesting space, but one that Airbnb will have to evolve their model around. And I think essentially, yeah, I mean, if Airbnb can crack a commercial model that works with hotels, it is pretty difficult to pivot a brand, though. Let's not forget. I mean, TripAdvisor have, I think, struggled to pivot from reviews to bookings in terms of what customers recognize that channel to do. So let's not assume that Airbnb can easily pivot from that category of product into the hotel space. But as Lauren says, if they find a commercial model that is workable for hotels and that price point is cheaper than OTA, then it's more competition for the OTAs and happy days.
Thanks, Frank. Any more questions at all from you? No, Lauren, let me come back to you because I wrote something down on my notepad here that you mentioned, that actually technology is about people, and you need the people in hotels to understand technology. Now, I'm just wondering, because you're sitting next to a couple of technologists. Frank delivers direct sell technology. Alex will connect you up to a lot of partners through 1.3 billion per year worth of technology, or a bit of that maybe. Do you think that hoteliers can actually fight the technology fight, or should you just give up and rely on tech partners and not bother trying to do it yourself at all?
Wow, that's a tough question.
So I didn't mean to put anyone out of work here.
That's a tough question. Regardless of the technology, regardless of how much you invest in technology, as I said earlier, you need to have the people who knows how to use it and to maximize that. Regardless of the technology, Paul, I was reading an article not too long ago, and I think it was on TripAdvisor. 92% of the visitors who look at the hotel where the comment from the customer was that the bathroom was dirty will not stay in this hotel. The point that I'm trying to make, it doesn't matter how much technology you invest. It doesn't matter how much money you invest on the people to use that technology. You still have to get your basic right. And the basic is, first of all, to know your customers and know exactly why they are staying in your hotel and why they are staying in a hotel. About 3 years ago, a very large company, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to use some bad words here, asked millions of their customers why they were staying in the hotel. 99.9% reply, sleep or sex. Well, think about it, that's not far from the truth. In order to have that, what do you need to have? Good shower, good bed, good soundproofing. And now, definitely, yeah, I know it makes you laugh, Frank. I also thought about it.
Irish, I'm an Irish Catholic boy.
And now, yesterday, I was in a conference, actually, we were talking about technology, and they said, you know something? Today, internet is even more important than bed. Well, I will add that as a fourth one. So let's not forget what is basically our core business. Our core business is to take care of people by people. Will technology will help us to do that? The answer is yes. Will technology will challenge that in order to do it better because the customer behavior changes? The answer is definitely yes. But hotel will still manage by people regardless of the technology.
Yeah, an actually lovely example. I was staying at a hotel last week. I came down to breakfast the second morning, and as I was shown to my table, the gentleman showing me the table said, "Oh, hello, Mr. Paul, would you like your decaffeinated coffee again?" And I was remembered it was a people business. Now, just to close, maybe starting with you, Alex, and then you, Frank, just looking forward for the next few years, what do you think is the most important thing that hoteliers, or maybe the travel industry generally, need to think about in future accommodation distribution? A simple little question, in a sentence.
So I think, like Lauren said, around the macro demographics are changing, and I think people need to start thinking about that now. We know the youth of the Middle East is, one of the highest mobile adopters in the world. But similarly, Eastern Africa has got the most advanced mobile payment systems in the world today. So I think, in the more sort of, 2 to 3 years time frame is focusing in those emerging economies. And I think, if you invest now, you'll be in a much better place for the future and to obviously take advantage of those growing markets.
Yep. From my perspective, I would say anything that hoteliers can do to personalize all aspects of the guest or the user experience. So not just what we're looking at in terms of personalizing the website and the online sales channel and marketing channels, but then taking that sort of improved view of who the customer is into your hotel and really delighting them, exceeding their expectations by using that information to personalize and go further during their stay. I think that'll bring them back and help them, encourage them to have direct relationships with you.
Thanks. And Laurent, any thoughts?
Again, hospitality is about people. And I think that instead of talking technology, I will just say that if we have some finance people and we could change basically the uniform system of account, that will be great. Let's put the people on the asset side, not on the liability. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank Alex, Frank, and Laurent for a great session. Thank you, gentlemen.